Hi everyone, it's Kelly with Peachy. Joining me today is Natalia Tafur with Keyhole Research. She specializes in consumer research for large corporations, small businesses, and everything in between. So we're lucky to have her here today to talk to us about the trends that are impacting small businesses.
Thanks, Kelly, for having me. This is really fun.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here today. So give me a little insight about what Keyhole Research specializes in.
Sure. We are primarily a qualitative research company based here out of San Diego, but we actually do a lot more than qualitative research. First of all, a lot of people don't know what qualitative research is, and what that really is telling companies about their customers. I tell stories about the customers on behalf of them to the companies. Many companies don't know who their customers are, but I also do a lot more than that, Kelly. I am also a trend expert, and I love macro trends. I think they're so fun, and they apply to so many different levels and areas of business. So many corporations pay really big bucks to get access to macro trend information. There are a lot of very big trend vendors that provide that information, but not all of us have the budget to get access to that information, but it's still really relevant information, not only for the corporations, but also for our small business owners. It's really relevant to everyone.
It is. And I see some of these small businesses struggling to find those channels and information, and so having you here today is really helpful because we're going to share out some top trends for 2020 for small businesses, and I'm going to let you take it away.
Great.
And tell us the first one that comes to mind. What would that be?
I have identified 5 different trends for small business owners, and the first one has to do with cash, which is very important, right? We all love cash, and cash is king, but more and more we're going cashless. Now, most of us have smartphones, and they may even have cashless payment options through Apple, through Google, all kinds of, even Visa. You can make payments on your phone, or you can even pay your friends or vendors through different apps like Venmo or PayPal. So cashless is now growing substantially, and we know from recent studies that it's growing 30% year over year. So this is not going away. If you aren't considering cashless payment options, it's probably something that should be top of mind for you.
We see a lot of startups already starting their companies with that capability, but some of the more mature small businesses are still working on other types of invoicing and payment methods, just cash and check. So that's a great suggestion and one great way to stay relevant and keep moving forward with your consumers.
Yeah, so if you're not already using it, we suggest looking into different companies like Apple Pay, PayPal, or Square, and using their services so that you can offer cashless payment options for your customers. So our second idea has to do with subscriptions. Now, we're not talking about magazine subscriptions, that's very old school, but I'm sure most of us by now have some online subscriptions like Netflix or Pandora or other music streaming, and that's really what started this sensation, right? You have a monthly fee, you get maybe unlimited access or a certain defined amount of access to something, but really that's gone much further beyond digital, and now we see subscription services for anything from products, clothes, you name it, just about anything you can get in the mail these days, right? But we also see that really for normal things like spa services or car maintenance. So it doesn't just have to be for digital. You can most likely apply some kind of subscription service to your business, and subscription services are great on many ends because the customers really value them because of the convenience, but also the cost savings that they offer. But from a business perspective, they're great for businesses because they really kind of alleviate the challenges that comes with cash flow and seasonality of business. This gives kind of a much more consistent cash flow to your business. So we highly recommend thinking about ways that you can incorporate subscriptions into your small business.
That's a great one, and we know that cash flow is one of the top challenges for small businesses. So it's nice to have something that's trending that can actually impact that and improve that for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, what's the third one?
Well, now we're still kind of talking about technology a little bit, but we're talking about how consumers feel about their data and keeping them private. I think all of us by now may have had our identity stolen or our credit card stolen. By now, the chances are pretty high of that. So we are kind of at a heightened awareness of that. We're really more and more reluctant to share our information with companies. But companies like you guys still really need the customer data. And Kelly and I were just speaking about how that can get expensive to try to collect data and buy data. What we recommend doing is actually asking your customers to get their data. And there are lots of different creative ways to do that, Kelly. And so what we know is that people don't like the creepy factor, like, oh, why are you contacting me and how do you know all this stuff about me because of my Google search that I did last week, right? So we suggest going directly to them, and you can do this in a lot of different creative ways. Maybe you have quizzes, maybe you can offer them tips and tricks with a resource guide. And what we know is that people are okay sharing their data if there's something in exchange, a quid pro quo per se. And they know that they're the ones that gave you the data, they know how you got their data, and they feel much more comfortable. And then you can start to build a relationship with the customer because you've asked them for their permission. The only thing that you might want to think about is incorporating some kind of privacy policy about how you keep that data, and if people want to opt out of it, that's really important. And we've seen a lot of new legislation in Europe, and actually starting on January 1st, California is implementing some new privacy laws around consumer data. So the next one is a kind of a good segue, but we're getting a little bit softer. We were talking about technology, and then we kind of talked about having relationships with your customers. Now the good news for small businesses is that relationships are really still very important. In fact, they're just as important as having that technology. So you're probably already using some technology in your small business, but don't give up on their customer relationship. Because if that goes south, there's no technology that can kind of salvage a bad customer experience.
That's very true. There's many places where we've all had bad experiences and we just don't go back. I recently read a headline of an article this week actually that said, experience is the new brand currency.
Definitely.
So even large corporations are focusing on what their experience is. The benefit for small businesses is that they actually operate more closely with their consumers and customers. So they have the opportunity to make that impact directly and have the personal touch throughout the entire engagement.
Yes, I can't stress enough the importance of experience. I also want to say that customers are very forgiving. So I think if there is a bad experience, that as long as you know how to rectify the situation and make it right, customers may not walk away. In fact, it may even impress them how you can kind of turn a bad into a good. So really look at that as an opportunity and to build that relationship. But brands and companies are just like people, and people realize that. So just kind of always look for maximizing the experience as much as you can, and making it right if something has gone wrong.
Just as people do, businesses can make mistakes. We're never perfect all of the time. So how we show up and rectify those situations, put our best face forward, and show that we really value our customers can go a long way in the end.
Yeah. It's actually funny, I saw a recent hashtag, and it was called #Flawsome. So everyone is flawed, but what you do with that flaws and how you can be awesome after the flaw is really what's critical. So we really embrace a flawsome attitude.
I love that. #Flawsome.
We have one last one.
Okay.
And since we're kind of talking about your relationship with your customers, equally important is your relationship with your own employees. Now, if you're like many small businesses out there, you may be struggling with retaining your employees, and many of them may be younger Americans. So there are some shifting and emerging trends with employing younger Americans that I think everyone should be plugged into. Now, I'm sure you may or may not offer some benefits to your employees, sorry, but we need to think beyond kind of the traditional employee benefits. Obviously, there's pay, and having health is always a bonus. But people are starting to get really creative out there, and it might surprise you what's out there. For example, Starbucks is offering access to a subscription of streaming music. Now, you might think that that's petty or, insignificant, but that's something that is valued by younger Americans. They want access to things that they enjoy and kind of bring joy to their lives. So that's just one kind of easy example.
That's a great one. I mean, music does cost money. Those subscriptions, even if it's $10 a month, to take that burden off them and offer them something fun that, they'll appreciate is a great way to show that you value your employees.
Definitely. And along with kind of the bigger wellness and health, because health is such a broad topic now and it's such a mega trend out there, and people are really dialed into that, and they're really trying to, Kelly, another thing that we see going on is that younger Americans are coming out of school with record student debt. This is a really big problem. So many people are delaying education or going to college, or some are just coming out with really high debt, and it's really hard for them to pay their rent at the end of the month because they have these student loans that they have to pay. So something that young Americans really value is when their employer can help them manage that. So maybe you're offering them assistance in going to college or paying for some classes or credits, or if you can help them with their student loans in some way. Some student loan assistance is really highly appreciated, and something that the older generations didn't really have to go through quite as much as they do today.
Thank you, Natalia, for coming. It's so important that our small businesses are in the know, and all of your insights were really great today. Thank you.
Kelly, I've had a lot of fun, and I just want to let you know that it's very timely that we had this discussion, because just this week I included on my website a great resource guide to 9 free trend online resources. So you can go to my website at www.keyholeresearch.com and you can download it for free.
Perfect. Thank you. That's great. Go get it. You need it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay. Bye-bye.